So, what if you could create a university level lecture complete with custom animations in just a few hours instead of a few weeks? Well, we're about to dive into a completely new way of making educational videos, and it involves something pretty amazing: a whole team of AIs working together like a world class orchestra. This quote from the research paper isn't just some clever, flowery language. It's literally the design principle behind this whole system. See, instead of one single, overworked AI trying to do everything at once, the idea here is a symphony of specialists, each one playing its part perfectly to create something complex and, well, beautiful. So, why do you even need a whole orchestra? Because let's be honest, creating really high quality educational content is incredibly slow and super expensive. If you ask one AI to be a math genius, a graphic designer, and a scriptwriter all at the same time, well, you're just asking for trouble. The researchers found it leads to cognitive overload and, frankly, pretty mediocre results. The solution, just like in a real symphony, is specialization. This system is built around an ensemble of different AI agents, and each one is an expert in its own little world. So let's meet the key players in this AI orchestra. First up, you've got the conductor. This is the orchestrating agent. Think of it as the project manager. It doesn't write the script or design the visuals, but it takes the main request, something like explain how neural networks work, and it breaks it down into smaller, manageable tasks. Then it coordinates all the other agents to make sure the final video is one cohesive, seamless piece. Next, we have our lead soloist, the solution agent. This is the brainiac of the group, the subject matter expert. Its entire job is to handle the tough stuff, the rigorous problem solving, the mathematical reasoning. It makes sure that every single formula, every calculation, and every concept is factually and verifiably correct. No guesswork allowed. Of course, a great explanation needs fantastic visuals, and that is where the illustration agent comes in. This is our visual storyteller. It takes those complex ideas from the solution agent and translates them into precise, executable code for animations. Now that's a key point. It's not just drawing a picture. It's writing the actual code that builds a perfect visual representation from the ground up. And finally, we have the narration agent. This is the voice of clarity. It takes all that expert-level knowledge and crafts an engaging, easy-to-understand script that's perfectly timed. Its job is to turn complex jargon into clear, simple language that a student can actually connect with and learn from. Okay, so you've got a conductor, a mathematician, an animator, and a writer. How in the world do they all communicate and stay perfectly in sync? Well, they all read from the exact same piece of sheet music, and that sheet music is a truly groundbreaking idea called the executable video script, or EVS for short. Now, this is the absolute core of the whole system. The EVS isn't a video file. It's not a bunch of pixels that are hard to edit. Think of it as the recipe for the video, a detailed blueprint with all the instructions needed to construct that video perfectly every single time. This idea changes everything. This recipe has three main ingredients, what they call a triplet. First, P is for pedagogical content. That's the core logic, the math, and the code for the visuals. Then you have N for narration, which is the spoken script itself. And finally, A for alignment, which are the rules that sync the visuals and the voice together right down to the millisecond. It's a brilliant way to separate the thinking, the scene, and the speaking. And using a recipe like this has some serious game-changing advantages. Need to fix a typo in the narration? You just edit one line of text and re-render the whole video in seconds. Want to prove the math is 100% correct? You just verify the code. It's not a guess, it's a proof. And you can reuse all these components, like Lego bricks, to build thousands of new videos. It is just unbelievably efficient, precise, and flexible. So, okay, that's the theory. A beautiful symphony of AIs all working in harmony. But does it actually perform? Does it work in the real world? Well, the results are, to put it mildly, absolutely astounding. This isn't just a cool concept. It is a proven success. First up, quality. A staggering 96% of the videos this system generates are considered publishable quality. That means they are ready to be used in a real college course without a single human edit. I mean, think about that. That level of reliability from a fully automated system is just incredible. Next, let's talk about cost. We're looking at a 95% cost reduction compared to what it normally costs to produce these videos. That takes the price from about $1.40 per video
down to less than 7 cents. This doesn't just improve the process, it completely blows up the economics of creating educational content.
And finally, speed. A 33 times improvement. Something that used to take weeks of back and forth between teams can now be done in a matter of hours. So let's get this straight. It's better, it's cheaper, and it's ridiculously faster. That's the trifecta. And this chart just perfectly illustrates that transformation. Just look at it. Content development goes from days down to minutes. Visual design, which is always the biggest bottleneck, shrinks from weeks to just hours. The entire production pipeline gets compressed from a multi-week headache into basically a single afternoon's work. This right here is why this whole approach is so much more powerful for education than other AI video models you might have heard about. See, those models generate what are called probabilistic pixels. They're essentially guessing what looks right. This AI Orchestra, on the other hand, uses that EVS to create verifiable code. It can prove the math is correct. With education, you need reliability and precision, not just a picture that looks plausible. So, what's the encore? Where does all this incredible technology go from here? Well, it's not just about making today's videos faster and cheaper. It's about creating a completely new kind of classroom for the future. And the roadmap is pretty ambitious. In the short term, it's about refining the system, making the agents work together even better. But the mid to long term is where things get really exciting. We're talking about real-time interactive video, where a student's question can generate a custom explanation on the spot. We're talking about VR labs, fully adaptive learning, and entirely new ways for humans and AIs to teach together. And this quote from the researchers really just captures the soul of this whole project. This is the ultimate goal, right? Education that isn't one size fits all, but is perfectly tailored to every single learner, instantly adapting to their needs, their background, and their questions. It's about making high-quality, personalized learning accessible to literally everyone on the planet. Which leaves us with this final, and I think pretty profound question. If an AI orchestra can instantly generate a perfect explanation for any concept imaginable, what does that mean for human teachers? It definitely doesn't mean they become obsolete, but it does suggest their role might evolve, from being the main source of information to becoming a guide, a mentor, and a source of inspiration. And that's a future that's really worth thinking about.